to integrative Hitbodedut techniques. We're here learning Hishtapchut HaNefesh on the next to the last day of the month of Tevet. It's the last day of the Gregorian year, and we're doing this well, actually my mother's yard site was last week, so we'll also add that please that this year should be in her memory and for her that her neshama should have an aliyah from it, Kayla Bat Yidl. Also all the Vam Yisrael that have illnesses and difficulties, amongst them Chaya Bat Bea and
I don't know my sister's
Alicia
name. She's very small.
what's his name? Alicia Meir. Rafael Alicia Meir ben Devora and Chaim Baruch Yehuda ben Nechama Sarah and Yitzchak can't remember Yitzchak. Also, for that, all our brothers and sisters that are in prison should be freed. Jonathan Pollard, Ephraim Yisrael ben Asnat, Shlomo Rabashkin, and all of Am Yisrael, and may we all be freed from whatever prisoners imprison us in the schut of this learning. So here we are on Torah Ayin Gimel 73, and it says like this. Oh, I'm sorry. You were saying something too. You wanted.
I said my sister is very sick.
What's your
She has
sister's
swine
name?
flu.
What's her name?
I don't know her Hebrew name.
What's her name?
Her first name is Carol.
Carol bat Sarah Menu. What's your mother's name? Oh, Bet Balcha. Carol bat
Yes, you should know
Balcha.
my brother's name.
Okay, beseder. For foolish name. Okay, so here we go. Hitbodedut. Tzorich liot ad shivatel es asmo el Hashem yisbarach legamrei. Hitbodedut, and we're talking again. Let's just for anybody who might be seeing this for the first time, or it's always good to review the idea of Hitbodedut. Literally means to make oneself alone, and when we're talking about alone with God, and that can be really done. It's ideally done when you're really literally by yourself, but also when the person has a proper focus of an awareness. We can make ourselves alone even when we're with other people, because on a certain level of reality of truth, each person that you see is a virtual reality being run by Hashem for your sake, so that you have the ability to make tikkunin, do tshuva, and bring awareness of Hashem more and more into your every moment. So that's Hitbodedut. Now, so he says Hitbodedut. This, what we're talking about, Hitbodedut, we're talking about having a relationship in that aloneness that you have with your Creator. That there is a relationship, and that relationship, as most people know, most people have a relationship through talking. As a matter of fact, we all do, and Hashem made it that way. So words are interaction, are vehicles for interaction between people, and so we want to have words with Hashem. So Hitbodedut is ideally in its fullest expression words between yourself and your Creator. But even as we know, have seen in many lessons already, sitting silently with Hashem, with your awareness of Hashem, is a form of Hitbodedut. Silent scream, groaning. These are all types of Hitbodedut that can be done. Anyway, so now he's going to say another thing. That the ideal level, what we want to get to in Hitbodedut, we need to get to the point through our prayer and asking for it and practicing it. And what does it mean? To nullify oneself to Hashem completely. That anything that you personally want, we need to nullify all our own desires for the sake of Hashem's desire. Now, how do we do this? How do we nullify ourselves? We judge ourselves. The aspect of judgment. That a person needs to look at himself and say, is this really fitting? And for me to be doing this, to spend my days in this pursuit, is this really fitting according to what Hashem wants? Vrikis bodedus, come on in. Vikris bodedus v'asicha shetzurich li bizkasus v'tzonos tovim l'Hashem yisbarach. And the main hitbodedut, and the main making oneself alone and conversation needs to be bihitchaskut ritzonot tovim l'Hashem yitbarach, by reaffirming and affirming and reaffirming one's good desires to come close to Hashem. Because deep inside, there's no such thing as a Jew that doesn't have deep desires to come close to Hashem. There's no such thing as even the lowest Jew that seems most far away, that Jew doesn't have a soul deep inside that wants Hashem. And so that person, even that person who's so immersed in physicality and so far from what people might say about you're being religious or proper before God, if you want, what the person has to do is to get in touch with their good desires to come close to Hashem. The main hitbodedut is to get in touch with that part that really wants Hashem. So how do you do it? How do you do it? Let's say you don't want Hashem right now, but you wish you wanted Hashem. So you say that. You tell Hashem the truth. You tell Hashem, I wish I was a higher level person. I wish I could find my desire for you. I really want to. Those are ritzonot tovot. Those are good desires. Right? So that's the main thing to get in touch with. Is in order to, he says, we got to nullify ourselves. So, but I'm full of myself. I'm full of my desire to have pleasure. I'm full of my desire to avoid the pains of this world. I don't want to sit and just pray. I want to go and go bowling. I want to have a cup of coffee and a pastry. That's what I want. Those are ritzonot. Those are my desires. What'd you say?
I want to go to Rav Trogman's.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to party. That's wonderful. People are learning to come together. That I was joking before. I didn't want that to be a thing that come out. It's all these things are my desires. So he says, when I have to make myself nullified. So how do I do it? Start with whatever little bit of knowledge of desire I have for something higher. Okay, God, I wish I was more aware of you. I wish there was a part of me that wanted you more often. I wish that I would come to the truth instead of being, if I'm stuck in lies, I wish you could help me find that out so that I don't have to be stuck in lies. Those are all good desires. So visalech machshavto mikol hevlei olam, and instead of people pray, Hashem, I need money to pay my rent. Okay, that's a good prayer. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a very good. We're supposed to pray for Hashem to give us our livelihood. However, if that's all we ever ask for, Hashem, give me my livelihood. Make it so that my child gets into a good school. Make it so that he finds a good wife or she finds a good husband. Please, God, make it so that my neighbor recovers from her hip surgery. These are all very good, but they're all about this world, and they're not the ultimate thing. So you know what? So the person, of course we want the neighbor to have a recovery from the hip surgery. But you know what? The neighbor's only going to be here another, 60, 80, 100 years, and they're gone. When it's done, it's not, so what? Like Rabbi Nachman talks about. He said everybody's worried about making a livelihood. But why are they going about spending their energy and their focus on making a livelihood? Because they're afraid they're not going to have something to eat. And if they don't have something to eat, they're going to starve to death. And he says, it seems very harsh if we're not used to these ideas. He says, so what if they do? So what if they starve to death? So he says, we're going to die anyway. What does it matter what way we die? Right? Because, see, we're so used to thinking that the main purpose, we've been in the exile for so many years, that we think the main purpose of being in this world is to make ourselves comfortable, make our way in this world. No, the main purpose we're in this world is to experience what it's like to be distant from Hashem and then work towards having closeness to Hashem. That's what we're here for. And so the main prayer is getting rid of what I want, but what does Hashem want? Hashem wants my relationship with Hashem. Hashem wants that the goodness that He ultimately wants to give us forever and ever can manifest through our following His directives. That's what Hashem wants. So we have to get in touch with that, and we have to get rid of what I want, and even if they're good things that I want. Okay? And again, we're not talking black and white. We're not saying just totally forget about. A person has to be where they are. And if you're needing to pray for your livelihood and you're needing to pray for these are all. I'm not at all implying that a person shouldn't pray like that. Conversely, they absolutely should. I'm just saying that what a person should be careful is to take some time where they put aside those issues of daily this worldliness and get in touch with the deeper, true longing that we all have for closeness to Hashem. עד שמכל ארבע רוחות העולם שנתפזר דעתו לשם, ישוב מכולם לדלת אחת, דלת דאחת. And so what happens is, until a person, we're worried about, and we're all the four directions of this world, right? We're worried about what's going on over here and over there, and in the politics, and in this, and then what's going to be, all these things. And we have to keep bringing them back. Hashem, no, I want you. I want you. And then the thought's going to go, but what about this? What about Iran? But Hashem, no, you're the one who's controlling that. No, what I want is you. And he says, bring all of our thoughts back. Pull them back from all the four corners of the world where they're scattered to there, until he comes back into the Daled, which is the four directions of this world, is rooted in the Daled of the word Echad. That Daled is Gematria 4, so that's where the 4 is rooted in that. And so what we want to is get back from that 4 into the Daled of Echad, that we understand that all of these goings on in the four directions are rooted in the word one. And the one is obviously Hashem, the one. And so and through that process of reminding ourselves that everything is Hashem and it's all one, whatever is going on in the four directions of the corners of the world, then we can come to more and more as an ability to nullify our own desires and our own sense of self and get in touch with Hashem's good, ultimate, true, and unified desire. And that is lehikalel ba'achduto u'tzono yitbarach, that we should be subsumed, completely subsumed in Hashem's absolute unity and simple desire. ועל פי רוב בשעת התבודדות ויישוב הדעת רואה בעצמו שאין לו שום מקום בכל ארבע רוחות העולם לברוח לשם, להתקבל שם מפגעי העולם בגשמיוס וברוחניוס. And when a person, most of the time when we're doing Hitbodedut, when we're sitting by ourselves and truly having a conversation with Hashem, and you have a little bit of a settling of the mind, and you look at yourself, and you see, the person sees that he has no place in this world really to go and hide and escape all the influences of this world that we have to deal with our parnasa. We're not supposed to just let ourselves starve to death. We have to deal with our children and our friends and our neighbors and all these things. There's nowhere to run away from being involved in the world. And even if a person lives out on a deserted island, they still go about the daily life of survival. So there's nowhere to really run away to within this world itself, to escape from the influences of this world, and that are always going on in physical and spiritual, beguf and nefesh and mammon, regarding our body, our physical soul, the soul that's rooted more in physicality, and our money, our livelihood. Bechinat ana elech meruchecha. Where am I going to go away from your spirit? Ad shero'eh she'en lo manos ki'im elav yisparach levad. That you don't have this, a person finally can see, like he's going to go, you know what he's looking for? What are we looking for in the world? A feeling of, a little bit of safety, a little bit of peace, to feel a little bit like something's okay, right? And people go scurrying all over the place, whether it's outside or whether it's on these electronic machines that we all sit and just get lost in, and people do that. And some people go out and try to find peace in nature. And they do to some extent find peace in nature. However, even that, eventually the person realizes, hey, you know what? I still have to deal with a me. Okay? So there's no place to escape out of this world except through into Hashem himself. In the aspect of Ki mimcha nasti v'shavti adecha. Because he says, because from you I fled, and then I returned into your lap. Ki Hashem Yisbarach nimtza bechol eit lekol korav, because Hashem is always found every single moment as soon as you want to call from Him. So it doesn't matter how far we got. So a person thinks that I'm so far away, and all I do is worry about my physicality and what I'm going to do next, and what meal I'm going to have, and what party I'm going to make, and what social event I'm going to try to attend, and what clothes I'm going to buy, right? So all of these things, we get involved, we get so pulled into them. So you know what? All you have to do is take a moment and say, Hashem, I want you. I don't want all these things. I'm so immersed in them. I'm so stuck. How am I going to come out except if you have compassion? So that's the types of things that we want to get to the core of that every time we do Bodhidut, to make sure we're spending time in that aspect of awareness. Because Hashem is found everywhere, and it doesn't matter how badly a person might have made mistakes, how many falls they've had, how terrible the falls they've had, the types of falls. Baruch Hashem, His compassion never ever ends. And everyone who merits to strengthen himself in order that his desire is always towards truth. Hashem, please, I want your truth. I don't want my truth. I don't want what I think. One time I was having a conversation with somebody, and I heard myself, sometimes we hear ourselves say something, and it's a funny, amazing thing. Did I say that? So I said to this person, he was going on about some sort of thing, about the physical world, about politics, something, and I said, brother, forgive me, but I really don't care what you think. I don't even care what I think. and I felt like it was true. I've been working on that I've been working in this 10 years, and I'm not saying I'm any big tzaddik or anything like that. Believe me, I fall plenty of times into what I want and what I'm going to do, and my own physical urges. So I'm far from that elevated person, but I've had glimpses. If you follow Rabbi Nachman's advice, you will have glimpses of these places. Absolutely, positively, I guarantee you.
In Chabad Chassidus, I think it's called Bittel.
Yeah, he said this is Bittel. When we don't care what I don't want my truth. I don't want what I think. I want you. I want what you think, Hashem. I want your truth. So we have to have all of that as our guiding principle, to be always strong in our pursuit of truth and asking for truth. And don't think just because I asked for truth this moment and I feel like I glimpsed a higher awareness, I don't want to think that, now I know truth, because Hashem's truth is so refined and so like a hair's breadth of absolute truth. Rabbi Nachman says a person should yearn his entire life to merit to say one word of truth his entire life. In other words, this world, we have to understand, Hashem fashioned this world to be a world of lies. This is called Alma de Shikra by the sages, the world of lies. And we have to understand that whatever we see, whatever we experience, we have to get it through our thick skulls, that whatever we see here is not the real truth. It seems like it is. Our five senses want to tell us, this is real. But we even know in science nowadays that what physical reality is actually mostly empty space. In quantum physics, that's what they show, that the electron or the atom is made mostly of empty space, and it comes together into what seems like physical reality. So even in the scientific world, it says that in the end of days we're going to see deep Kabbalistic concepts come into the world through the non-Torah sources like science. So we see that. So we have to get it through our thick skull that the truth is really beyond us. And we have to yearn for it and beg for it and pray for it and look for it and know that we don't know it. And Hashem will bring us more and more each moment, each time we plead. V'lo yarpeh et haratzon hatov. And do not soften. Do not let yourself fall away from the good desire for truth. Afilu im yavor alav ma. It doesn't matter what happens. The person might think, I yearned for truth, but then I got involved in this terrible scandal, and all of a sudden I had somebody gave me an opportunity, an insider trading tip that's totally illegal, that let me make $20 million, and it was great, and I did it, now I have $20 million, and I feel terrible, because I slipped. I can never look for truth again because I'm filled with lies. No, you know what? I slipped, made a mistake, I fell in lies, got $20 million here, God, you'll do with it, I'll make Shabbos. And you'll decide what's going to be. But you get right back to the pursuit of truth. It doesn't matter what happens. If we continue to plead and yearn and ask for the ability to have good desires and whatever good desires do we have, to ask Hashem to bring us to those good desires, then in the end we're going to see ultimately that it's going to turn out good for us. And people who are accustomed to do hitbodedut, to talk to Hashem, to spend time with Hashem alone, they're actually people, and I'm talking about people who really, really do hitbodedut regularly, at least an hour a day, every day, maybe a couple of hours a day. Those type of people, that person, they're never going to have any fears in this world. They're not going to be worried about any type of pain or any type of enemy or any type of deception. Okay? Because they're going to be such a clear relationship with the presence of Hashem in their lives that they're going to know that whatever happens is only for the good, so I don't have to be afraid of it, even if it's uncomfortable.
This explains the words in the prayer before bed. I won't fear the pestilence and the thousands of enemies surrounding me and whatnot.
Right, exactly. Because when we know that, so remember, again, over and over, we got to remind ourselves, we're in this world to experience constriction and darkness so that we can appreciate eternal expansion and light. We're here, but Hashem is a compassionate creator, and He doesn't just give us only darkness. He gives us a mixture.
What is the end, though, that is referred to when it says, Yeh acharitos tov?
What is the end?
Which end?
His ultimate end.
Ultimate end.
His ultimate end will be good, yes. His ultimate coming, however He comes out, maybe this world it won't seem so good, but the true good of eternity, He's going to come out good. Hopefully in this world too. Okay, because the person that is regularly doing hitbodedut, they're always hiding themselves within the shadow of Hashem's wings. ומי זה ערב את ליבו לגשת אל השם יתברך, שהם מסתירים עצמם אצלו יתברך, בכינס כי אתה השם מחסי. And who are this one that has sweetened his heart to draw close to Hashem, that hide themselves in Hashem's wing, in His protection, in the aspect of that you Hashem are my protection. And that's what it says, that the Israel nation dwells securely alone. Because you are Hashem, are the one alone that gives security and returns me, that you shall return me into your security. That the word badad is the root of the word hitbodedut. That when we're saying that the Jew dwells alone, the person who goes is by himself and finds Hashem and finds a relationship with Hashem by himself, that person will always experience security. That person will always experience a greater and greater. And I'll tell you from a personal experience, I used to be a very afraid person. And I hid it pretty well. If you got to know me really well, you'd sometimes see me freak out for certain things. All right, but I used to be really uptight inside, and since I've been following Rabbi Nachman's Eitzot for these past 10 years, I would say that Baruch Hashem, I think I have a very high level of bitachon, and it's growing. And I've been looking. I have a number of phobias that I actually just kind of pretended didn't exist for a long time, and now I'm looking at them and I'm aware of them as sensations as opposed to fears, because I'm aware Hashem is the creator of those sensations. And I'm able to do more and more of what I would like to be doing to serve Hashem, as opposed to letting those sensations rule me and push me away. I still have ways to go. There's a lot of very intense things that are going on. And I have great confidence and hope and faith and trust that Hashem will bring me in the right way. And it's this advice, this Rabbi Nachman's advice that gives me that confidence, because I see step after step, time after time, the progression as I follow these pieces of advice, that I grow more in depth as a person, that I'm staying young in my outlook, and I believe very much now that that there's no such thing as getting old just because you have more years under your belt. That a person can stay young through these particular practices. Shenizkeh, and bless us that we should do that. So he says, okay, so Ayin Sham shemefarish bazeh kuhen amle v'dad yishkon shehem mitbodedim beinam levein atzmam heitev l'tov. And he says, see another place where he actually interprets that verse about dwelling alone, that he's referring to people who do itbodedut, that go out and always talking to Hashem. Ma'yeh sofam v'tachlitam, what will be their ultimate end? Shezeh kol inyan esicha beino levein kono, that they will dwell securely, that this is the entire matter of conversation between you and your Creator. Uvagayim lo yitchashav sheinam choshvim b'da'atam ma'aseh hagoyim sherodfim achar mamon. And when it says vagoyim lo yitchashav, don't pay attention, don't trouble yourself with the matters of what the non-Jews are doing, because the non-Jews, it's only because of the non-Jewish influence over the 2,000 years we've been in the Galut that we thought we had to go run after money. It's only that influence that made us think that we have to run after being famous, because we know how much that's a value in Western society. So a person should become famous and well known, and it turns out Rabbi Nachman says no, it's the opposite of true. Run away from honor. Be quiet. Be private. Don't let people know who you are and what you're all about, except in certain circumstances that's needed for that to be.
Like the Lamed Vav Tzadik.
Yeah, be a simple Jew, a pashut yid, pashut tamim. Be simple. Don't try to be a leader. All these leadership seminars. It's so funny as I've been learning Rabbi Nachman, and again, I came from that. I went to leadership seminars. I went to these types of things, right? Be a leader. Rabbi Nachman says, no, don't be a leader. So he says, don't get involved in worrying about what the goyim are doing, the non-Jews that are going chasing after money. But rather pay attention to the amazing goodness of each and every step that you take that's going towards doing hitbodedut, that's going towards doing a mitzvah, and understand and develop the trust and the belief that it is so precious each and every step. Do you know why do we get bogged down? Because we lose our faith. We don't believe that. If I believe if a little child thinks that he's getting a prize, he's so excited. He's going out. He's going to do the next thing, whatever it is. He says yes, and he's jumping all over the place. That's how we have to be. Wow, I'm taking a step towards Yibodin. Wow, that's so great. I took another step toward Yibodin. That's so great. We have to really, and I'm not exaggerating. We want to have that type of little child. You might think, oh, what a foolish thing. He looks so silly. We want to be like children. That's because we are, no matter how old or sophisticated we get, compared to Hashem's maturity and sophistication, we're little children. מה שהולכים לדבר מצווה לבודד בשם מצווה מספר את רובע ישראל בחינת 4 הדגלים בחינת ד' אחד כנזכר לאל, and also the counting is also explaining that the way that the Am Yisrael is divided into 4 sections, which is the aspect of the 4 flags and the aspect of the Dalid and the word Echad again, so that we want to look at the fact that there's these 4 directions and bring our awareness back to that's all rooted in unity. And that's and he talks about this over in Likutei Moharan, where?
There's no footnote.
No, there isn't usually. Oh yeah, nope. Oh, he's talking. Okay, no, he's talking about the Likutei Lachot in Birchot Shachar. Right, he talks about that there. Okay,
that's right.
Good. All right, any questions, comments, thoughts on this, what we just covered? Amazing, isn't it? What's really wonderful about all this, I think, is that it doesn't have to put a burden. I know, I've seen it, and I've watched when people learn in other formats are learning about, like, what we need to do to be better people, to be holy. And I feel the weight of the burden come onto people. Oh, I've got to be more grateful. I've got to be more, and I can see and I feel it. There's this feeling of burden, even though it's wonderful. Yes, I want to be like that, but deep inside, we all know it's hard for me to be that way. So we read and learn. We learn a Torah like this, and it says, "Oh, we want to nullify ourselves." And instead of getting the burden of, "Oh my gosh, I'm so far from nullifying myself," I get, "Wow, all I have to do is ask Hashem for that and leave it up to Hashem, and I don't have to be. There's nothing you can do to make yourself nullified."
What else is in that burden you're talking about?
A feeling of lack of success in being a holy Torah scholar person.
Got it.
Okay, and I believe that pushes a lot of people away, especially, perhaps to say Balei Tshuva, as people who didn't come from a religious background. And some people, a small percentage of the people who come into the Torah world go on to become quite successful and established in their learning, and they develop, Talmudic, they become Talmudic scholars. And then there's others who look at their friends who did that and they say, "But I can't do that," and they kind of have a certain level of despair. And maybe they go out to their Torah classes and they learn, and it's wonderful. But there's a certain lack of real belief that I could become a more refined Yirei Shamayim, true. A person truly fears Hashem from the place of awe, not from the place of I'm afraid Hashem's going to punish me. Right? All right, should we go on to another one? Yeah? Okay. Ayin Daled, it's a short one. Yeah. Ayin Daled, which means witness, so let's wait 74.
It's a short one.
Now there's going to be times when you want to go to talk to Hashem and you can't open your mouth at all. You can't talk, you can't pray, you want to, you know you have a lot to say, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Nevertheless, stop. Ask Hashem, please Hashem, rachem alai. Just that, and if you can't say the whole thing, please Hashem, just say rachem. And if you can't say rachem, think it. Rachem, please. Show pity, show compassion. Sheyasayuhu milamala v'yamtzu et kocho. That Hashem should help from above and give him, increase his strength to the point where he can break through the resistance and ask for racham and ask for compassion. So you're asking for Hashem for compassion so that you can open your mouth and ask for compassion. As the sages said in Gemara Sanhedrin, le'olam yevakesh adam rachamim, sheyeh hakol me'antzin et kocho. They say a person should always ask for compassion, that everyone should be increasing or empowering his strength. Okay, that's what we're saying. Ask Hashem for compassion, that you should please Hashem, give me compassion. Abba, you're the one who's come. I want to pray. I can't talk. I can't even say these words. It's so hard for me to talk to you a little bit. Please Hashem, show your compassion, give me compassion, that I should be able to really ask for true compassion from you. Then from there, that you can get to the point. Please give me compassion, that I should use my time wisely in this world and not waste my time in the precious gift of this life you've given me. Please Hashem, give me a gift in your compassion, that my heart should be aroused to go after the true things of Torah and not the falsehoods of the vanities of this world. We have to ask for that Hashem can give us the ability to pray. And that's something, again, that takes time to get used to thinking that way. We're so used to growing up in the world of kochi v'otzem yadi, my power, my strength, that I say, I'm going to pray. And we don't, and that person who has that attitude totally forgets that it's Hashem who gives the desire and the awareness and the ability to say the words, whatever they are. It's Hashem who gives the desire and the ability to sit down and learn a piece of Torah. It's Hashem. So therefore, a person who's learned some Torah should not feel so proud of himself. Oh, look, I'm learning Torah, and this guy, oh, he's bittul Torah. Maybe Hashem, Hashem's giving it to everybody, and whatever they're doing, it's from Hashem. Okay, yes, remember we always talk about that it's a paradox. On the side of free choice, a person has to take responsibility. But there's also equally 100% true is the divine providence side that it's only Hashem who's giving the ability or taking or not giving the ability. Rashi, and Rashi explains of this statement of the sages that a person should request mercy, that everyone should empower his strength. Rashi says, "She'sayuhu malachei hasharet levakesh rachamim," that the angels on high should give him the help to help him to lift whatever it is that an angel might do to lift up the person's spirits. Enough so that the person can open his mouth to ask for Hashem's compassion. And that's Torah, Ayin Dalet, to be a witness to the truth of our dependence on our prayers and for Hashem's mercy. And that Hashem is even, and it goes on and on. I mean, but isn't it Hashem who gave me the ability to ask him for opening my mouth to ask for mercy? Yes, that is true too. And it goes deeper and on and on. And it doesn't. The paradox always is going to work together, both sides simultaneously. So we can't ever get to solve that conundrum. Well, how can it be? So we surrender that place. All right, Ayin Hey is quite long, so I think we will pause here. Maybe if there's anything anybody else would like to say. Chaim David, you still with us? Chana, you still with us? I don't know if they're still with us over there. Anyway, Howard, do you have anything you want to say?
I don't know what to say. It was very deep.
So breathe. How about we all do that? Just take a couple of deep breaths in your nose and out your mouth, and as the breath comes up, become aware of the sense of quiet and aware of the truth of Hashem's presence, and that He's given us the gift of these teachings. And get in touch with your desire to come closer, to have a truer, more refined relationship with Hashem. And let yourself be grateful and joyful and appreciate yourself that you have that desire. And be grateful to Hashem for the gift that He placed in your heart, that you want God. Keep breathing and imagine a silent scream, that if you were screaming thank you to Hashem as loud as you could, possibly with a voice that caused an earthquake. Imagine that. Let your heart soar and lift with that gratitude to Hashem for giving you, that you really do want God, even if you fall sometimes. So, thank you very much. May we go forth and believe in our service, make it more consistent, more deep, more true, more according to Hashem's ultimately good desires. And keep coming back. Great to have everybody here.